Jeff, we just heard from Coach McDaniel, who described Tua as being in good spirits, sort of making the rounds among the locker room, and he said was going home. What else can you add in terms of the reaction from teammates and what we know, if anything, at this hour?
Well, Scott, I think that's what makes this situation so complicated. Tua Tagovailoa in the locker room after the game, actually, when media was allowed in there. Now, he wasn't necessarily at that point talking to teammates, but rather with some different staffers. That being said, it's the type of injury that's so difficult to diagnose in terms of the severity, in terms of what it means for the future moving forward. Mike McDaniel saying he's not willing to put any type of timeline on this situation. But I can tell you that this locker room, this stadium, is shell-shocked. This is a situation that is the nightmare scenario for this Miami Dolphins team. Where they go from here, how they proceed, is obviously anybody's guess.
And I understand that we have the post-game scenario there where they're getting the field prepared, so I don't know, hopefully you can hear me. But the point that I made to Damien a bit ago is that there is a protocol, and if Miami were to follow it and he was okay and then he plays again, you know how the outside world reacts at this, right? I mean, it's almost like they're like, well, how could you let him play? I mean, and that's where I think that I don't know how reasonable anyone is that's saying that if the protocol is being followed. But Miami is clearly going to be incredibly careful here, aren't they?
Yeah, I think that's what's so hard about this in general, because I know from experience it in 2022, the fallout from the situation with Tua and how they handled it and what they learned from it. But there is no doubt that you're going to see criticism no matter what. I mean, this is a complicated situation, not only for the Miami Dolphins, but for the NFL. And I can tell you, interestingly enough, that Roger Goodell was in attendance tonight, the commissioner of the NFL, when this happened. I mean, we're talking about Tua Tagovailoa's head colliding with Damar Hamlin's chest. Right. And these situations that are very difficult to digest from a public perception standpoint, but one that they have to manage as a business, but also one that's looking out for a human. This is not an easy thing for the Miami Dolphins, and I think that's what I would stress to people that are trying to, whether they're on their couch at home or in this stadium, whether they're trying to diagnose it, whether they're saying Tua should retire or sit out 2 weeks. Mike McDaniel's point in his post-game press conference is, we're going to find out what the diagnosis is, and we're going to go from there. And I think it's complicated, and I certainly don't envy the process.
That's really, really well put. Jeff Darlington in South Florida. As always, appreciate you, brother. Be well.
Thank you, Scott.